Luck is a strange concept in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, as it appears as an aspect in every single part no matter how big or small. Though, not all luck works the same in JoJo, and probably one of the best examples of weird luck in JoJo is the strange case of the unluckiest luckiest man in all of Italy, Guido Mista.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fastest gun in the world right here.
So it's established really early on that Mista has an obsession with good luck, or at least avoiding bad luck. He overly obsesses on superstitions that can cause him to panic in times of conflict. He focuses on these things to such a degree that his stand Sex Pistols is affected by it. As you see, there is no Sex Pistol marked with a 4, because 4 is an unlucky number and Mista's least favorite number. And the Sex Pistol that would be 4 is cowardly and bullied by all the other Sex Pistols, which is a reflection of Mista's mentality. Now, in real life, the fear of the number 4 comes from China, as in the Chinese alphabet, the word for death is pronounced the same as the word for 4. They are both pronounced Su. And because of that, the number 4 has taken on an unlucky context to the point that buildings will not have a 4th floor. Much like in America, where buildings won't have a 13th floor, in China they'll have a negative 1st floor if there's only 4 floors, instead of having a 4th floor. And it is considered incredibly rude to mention the number 4 around dying relatives. This fear of the number 4 is so ingrained into the culture of China and surrounding Asian countries that a British medical journal study found that on the 4th day of every month, Asian Americans or Asian immigrants were more likely to die from stress-related heart attacks, specifically a 12% increase in their chances. Now, the origin of Mista's tetraphobia is unknown, since he is in-universe Italian and has no relation to any Chinese or Asian culture, though he mentions it being an invisible force in his life ever since he was a kid. So taking that into mind, one of the moments in time that I think might have ingrained this fear into him is possibly one of his luckiest moments in his entire life. When Mista was 17, he stumbled upon a woman being beaten and raped in the back of a car. He attacked the man and found himself at the end of a barrel of 3 different guns. Though, no matter how many shots these men fired at him, they all missed, and he was able to steal one of the guns, reload it, and fire back, under gunfire. He was able to kill all 3 men with 4 shots without being even hit once. Though, because of how unbelievable his self-defense statement was, he was sentenced to 15 to 30 years in prison for 3 accounts of murder. And during the time before his imprisonment, all Mista could do was think of the reasons why this could be happening to him. He told the truth. He really defended himself against 3 different people. So why is he being arrested for this? This was self-defense. Then he slowly pieced together the idea that the number 4 was incredibly unlucky, finding ways to blame it on any misfortune he witnessed in his life, such as the kitten who scratched a dude's eye out because it was the 4th kitten in a bunch. Though this event is actually a perfect example of Mista's amazing luck. You see, in the fight with the 3 men, Mista displayed stand potential. That made him stick out to Bruno. Bruno, with the influence of the mob, is what saves Mista from spending time behind bars. This both allows Mista to truly unlock his stand Sex Pistols, avoid going to prison, and also realize how relaxed he can be in high-stress situations like a gunfight. And that's what pushes him down the career that he would be the best at, but would never have taken part of if he never joined the gang. That career being a professional marksman. You see, this is actually a running theme with Mista as a character, actually. In every battle Mista is involved with, he's always the victim of his own actions. It's almost humorous to the point that every bullet that Mista has fired has somehow managed to hit him instead of the opponent. It happens in Kraftwerk, Grateful Dead, White Album, and of course, Chariot Requiem, though the last one is more understandable. And even when Mista does land his shots, it ends up causing more issues than it solves. See Notorious B.I.G. and Rolling Stones. So on the surface, Mista appears to be very unlucky. This is because, much like Mista's backstory, all of these events are blessings in disguise, which is why I call Mista the unluckiest luckiest man in Italy, because all of these listed events have long-term positive consequences for Mista, even though they appear to be nothing but setbacks. So when it comes to Kraftwerks, even though Sale was supercharging the kinetic force on the bullets, they never struck Mista in any vital areas. This also allowed Mista to understand the speed and force applied to the bullets so he could use them to his own advantage, because Mista needed a fast enough bullet to break past Kraftwerk's defenses and also trick Sale into creating a bullet that he could split after it was fired. He also managed to defeat Sale without killing him, even after shooting him 3 different times in the head, and if that ain't lucky, then I don't know what is lucky. Then with Grateful Dead, Mista was able to force Prosciutto out of hiding and deliver Bruno the ice he needed to stave off the aging effect and eliminate Prosciutto from the fight, therefore nullifying the Grateful Dead ability and saving the rest of his crew. Mista may have taken 3 bullets to the head, but 3 is luckier than 4. Then when it comes to the White Album fight, the entire fight Mista is struggling to get any of his bullets past White Album's defenses, and when he tries, it just ends up damaging him more. Getting some Kraftwerk flashbacks from this fight, though it is only made worse when Mista has to go up against White Album's Gently Weep ability, and this actually deflects the bullets right back at Mista. These deflected bullets end up tearing up the area around him and injuring Mista pretty severely. But these two factors actually allow Mista and Giorno to perform a coup de grace on Gaucho and break through his ultimate defenses. Mista taking those injuries became what he needed to win the fight. Then of course you have the shots that he did land, which end up having a stronger long-term effect on him. And if you look at things like Notorious B.I.G., on the surface, Mista unleashed an unkillable, unstoppable force of nature on him, his friends, and the rest of the world. Well, in the grand scheme of Part 5, he actually helped Trish unlock her stand, which saved Mista and the crew on multiple occasions. If not for Mista helping Trish unlock her stand, Bruno and Polnareff would have been fooled by Doppio when he went in disguise as Trish with Bruno to meet with Polnareff, and Doppio would have gotten his hands on the arrow. Or if Trish didn't have her stand, then she wouldn't have been able to soften the bullet that hit Mista on the head during the Chariot Requiem arc, or even soften the bullets King Crimson blocks as he goes for the arrow, and then harden them later in the fight to prevent Diavolo from getting the arrow. Mista creating B.I.G. retroactively saved the crew on 3 separate occasions. And I mean, you could argue that Mista unleashing a horrible, unkillable, unstoppable beast into the ocean is probably a bad thing and sank a bunch of boats, but you gotta win, you win some, you lose some. And then of course, the biggest effect that Mista had on him, his friends, and the fate of the world is, as I mentioned in the It Just Works for Rolling Stones, when Mista destroys the Rolling Stone, he survives by what he can only describe as great luck. But in fact, Mista has retroactively changed fate. His actions allows Giorno Giovanna to wake from his role as a sleeping slave, and become the man who will guide the sleeping slaves. This is the reason why in the scene in which fate is modified, the 2 people being highlighted to Diavolo are Giorno Giovanna and Guido Mista, the man who controls fate and the man who changed fate. So yeah, Mista's kinda like Passione's lucky charm. As long as he sticks around Giorno, the 2 of them will overcome just about anything that comes their way, except for maybe Mista's 44th birthday. That'll be a challenge that no man could surpass. And if you enjoyed this video and would like to support more videos like it in the future, I have a Patreon at patreon.com/MattyNotTheBadGuy. And if you want to experience good luck, but don't want to get shot in the head, then you should head on over to Funimation.com/show/Shimonetta, boring world where the concept of dirty jokes doesn't exist, and buy yourself 3 or 5 specific. Don't buy 4. Buy 3 or 5 copies. Buy 100 copies. 100 is better than 4. Any number is better than 4 copies of Shimonetta, except for every number that is below the number 4. You should buy at least 5 copies of it. Make Mista happy. If you buy 4, you're gonna get shot. I can't change that. That's fate. I need to find a big stone and jump off a building with it. That's the only way you can really change fate. Bye.